Hello everyone, I'm pro saxophonist Jamie Anderson. You're watching Get Your Sax Together, and this is my third live YouTube live coming to you from the Get Your Sax Together studios. I hope everything is okay and you can hear me fine. I see there's some people in the chat already. Welcome to Lisa, Xavier, Alan Costin, Shane Van Wyck, Jonathan, and I'm sure more people will join shortly. On today's live, I'm going to teach you all about how to play over house music, DJ music, club music, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to show you the most important things you need to do, some common mistakes that will stop you sounding great on this type of music, and what scales to use and how to play musically over this style of music. Let's do it. As usual, this is live, folks, and I literally an hour ago just installed a new router on my internet. So if it drops out, I'll try and sort it out and get back to you. But fingers crossed, the gods of tech are going to smile on us and everything will go smoothly. As always, there'll be a full Q&A session at the end. So think of your questions now, but if you put them in the comments now, I probably won't see it later on. So hold your water and your questions, and then they'll all be in one place on the chat for me to look at when we get to that time. There is a free PDF for this lesson. You can see the link down there, www.getyoursaxtogether.com/house sax. That has got all the key points that you're going to learn from today's lesson, and it's got blues scales and pentatonic scales in every key. Yes, you heard me correctly. You've got every pentatonic scale and every blues scale in that PDF. So make sure you go and grab your PDF down there. As always, if you haven't watched it already, go and check out my free 1-hour masterclass. This has got everything that I could think of to teach you in an hour that is useful for saxophone players. This isn't just like fluff. This is really hardcore, detailed teaching that you won't find on YouTube. Just to go down to www.getyoursaxtogether.com/masterclass to get your free 1-hour masterclass with me. Right, let's move on to today's lesson, which is about playing house music or playing with a DJ over house music. Now, first of all, why should you even bother listening to me about the topic? What do I know about it? Well, I've played on loads of house stuff and I've recorded lots of great clubby records, including this one here, which I've got on Underwater Records. This is the B-side of Sirens by Tim Deluxe, and it's called We All Love Sax. If you ask any DJ from 10 years ago about this record, they'll tell you that that's a bit of an underground classic. I've also played live at many clubs, London clubs, Turnmills. I played at Fabric with Envoy. I played at house music festivals like Creamfields, Homelands with Tim Deluxe, with Darren Emerson, with DJs like that. I also played in Ibiza, Pasha in Ibiza, and Manumission in Ibiza. I know I'm a bit of an old fart now, but I used to do some pretty cool stuff. Plus loads of other club gigs and loads of other recordings. Now, one of my most well-known recordings is on this particular tune. Let's see if I can just get down here, share my screen for you, and see if you recognize this one. This is probably going to give me a copyright strike, but let's keep our fingers crossed. You don't know what I've been through. So that was the Tim Deluxe remix of Leon Bushwhacker, Love Story, which has been mashed up with Finally. That's one of my most well-known solos. I might even cover that on the channel if there's enough interest. I disappeared off there because I forgot my sling, so I'll have to use this sling. Right, so that's a sort of summary of my experience playing in clubs and which records I've played on. Now, when it comes to house music, it's important to remember that this is funky, bluesy music and rhythmic. It's really rhythmic music. That's the key point about playing over house music. You don't want to get your bebop on and play a bunch of stuff that nobody's interested in. It's got to be rhythmic, funky and bluesy. And really, it's just the beats underneath that are different from playing on, say, a funk groove. In terms of which saxophone, you can play any saxophone. I don't see many people playing soprano in clubs, but I know a lot of people play baritone. Certainly people play tenor. But for me, if I'm going out to play with a DJ, I'll probably take my alto more than anything, because it's just got that cut that kind of sears over the DJs and over the music. And I like the way that alto pops out. You know, you can play really rhythmically on alto. Having said that, all those things I've just played you and all the clubs I played in, I did on tenor. In this lesson, we're going to cover 3 main areas. Now, the first one is find out what key you're in. We're going to talk about that. The second area is what scales to use. And the third area is the playing style, how you should actually play on the records. So let's get right into this and cover the first point first. And the first point is, how do you find what key you're in? Now, this is such a basic thing that it kind of often blows my mind that people struggle with it. But the key of the song is the note that you would sing, which sounds like the note when you are at home the most. It's the note that fits the song the best. It's not necessarily the note of each chord, but it's the note that if you sing it, it will sound like you're home. So the first important thing to establish is what key are you in? Now, of course, keys can be major or keys can be minor. For house music and club music, most of the time it's going to be minor keys as a rule, but not always. So as soon as the record, if you're playing with a DJ and the record comes on, in your head, just try and hum the home note. And you can practice this in your car, listening to music. You can practice it at home. Anytime you've got music on, just try and sing the home note of the song. That is the most important thing that you can do first of all. So number 1, find what key you're in, sing the home note. And then on your sax, maybe off mic or don't play it too loud, just try and find that note. Now, that'll come with experience. You might be able to sing it, but then not be able to find the note. You might be able to find the note on sax, but not be able to sing it. But with enough practice, you'll be able to find that home note. Now, if you're really unlucky, the chords of the song will move to a completely different key, and you won't, it'll be in 2 different keys. But for the most part, when you're talking about, say, songs like Jubel, all the sort of Jimmy sax stuff, Baker Matt, these kind of songs, they're in an obvious key. So find the key, number 1. Number 2 is what scales to use. Now, 99% of the time, you're going to be using a minor pentatonic scale, and then you add that extra blue note in, which gives you the blues scale, the minor blues pentatonic scale. So if you go down to the PDF, if I just go back up here, I can give you the URL for that. getyoursaxtogether.com/house sax. That PDF has got all the blues scales and all the pentatonic scales in every key. So that is a fantastic resource. Now, you need to be familiar with these scales in every key, because you don't know what key the tracks are going to be in that you're playing on. So it's very important that you know these blues scales, these pentatonics, in all 12 keys. Now, I know that feels like a bit of a big deal. However, remember there's only 5 notes in a pentatonic. So try and get familiar, or just break it into chunks, so learn a set of, say, 3 or 4, and then learn another set, and gradually you'll be quite familiar with all these pentatonics in every key. Now, I say 99% of the time you're going to be using a pentatonic, and that's true, but now and again, just be prepared that there might be a house tune where you've got like a B minor 9 and then a D minor 9, then a B flat minor 9, and you're going to need different scales. Now, if that's beyond your kind of skill level, just don't play on the tune. Take a break, take a drink, dance around, just kind of style it out. And remember that when you're playing with DJs and things like that, you don't have to play the whole time. In fact, when we get into number 3, we'll talk more about that. So, scales, minor pentatonics or blues scale. Now, the blues scale is the same as a minor pentatonic, but with one additional note. So, let's say, for the sake of argument, we've got a B minor pentatonic. The notes are going to be B, D, E, F sharp, and A. That is the B minor pentatonic, and it sounds like this. Now, to change that into a blues scale is quite simple. You add the flattened fifth, which is in this case an F natural. So now we're going to get B, D, E, F natural, and F sharp, and then A, and then finally you go back to B at the top. So now we've got 6 notes. So whilst we're talking about scales, a little note of caution. Try not to linger too much on that blue note, in this case the F natural, because if you're jamming and you just keep hitting that F, it's going to sound a bit jarry. It's a note which you need to sprinkle. You need to sprinkle it carefully in there. So I'll show you what I mean. Now, if I overuse that F, it's going to sound like this. Can you hear the dog barking? So the F is quite a strong flavor. So this time I'm going to demonstrate just using it a little bit, like I'm going to go from the E, then touch on the F, and then go back to the E. Or you can use it more like a sort of passing note. So this is the right way to use that blue note in your pentatonic. Here we go. So just be careful on that blue note when you're using the blues scale. So that covers scales. You can either use a minor pentatonic or throw in that extra blue note, which gives you the blues scale. Go to the PDF, you can get all the blues scales and pentatonics written out, memorize them, and then you'll be set to go on virtually any clubby, housey tune. So number 1, find the key. Number 2, find the appropriate pentatonic scale. Now I'm going to demonstrate this on tracks which I've never heard before. I've got myself a royalty-free playlist on Spotify. I'm just going to run it and demonstrate the process for you. So the last point, number 3. So we've got, remember, find the key, learn your pentatonics. Number 3 is playing style. Now this is super important. So no bebop, people. I used to work in this studio, and they had this spray which they'd covered with a new label, and it was called a Jazz Begone spray, which they jokingly sprayed around if anybody was getting a bit jazzy. But this is true in the case of house music. It's got to be simple, thematic, rhythmic, punchy stuff. So simple is going to be much better than really complicated in almost every case. Less is more. You've got to let the music breathe. The beats and the groove are going. You just got to let that flow and not get in the way of it. Now, the other important thing is don't play if there's a really strong vocal melody going on. And definitely don't play if there's already sax on the tune. Now, this is one of the most confusing things I've ever experienced, that when I go to play with a DJ in a club, they start playing tunes with sax all over it. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. But maybe the DJ's kind of thinking, yeah, sax, and they're just thinking about sax and they play tunes with sax. I'm like, all right, what am I going to do then? However, if that happens to you and there's a tune with saxophone all over it, don't try and compete, whatever you do. Just stop playing. In fact, if in doubt at any time, stop playing. It's much better not to play than play, because you can have so much more impact when you just wait for your moment. So just have the confidence to wait for your moment, listen to the tune, find the key, get, just sort of very quietly find the key on your sax, make sure you know the scale which is going to fit, and then sit back, let the tune build, and there'll always be that one moment where you can just, steam in and sound really effective. But nobody likes, it's like a buzzing wasp if somebody's just playing the whole time over something. The other thing you can do to make a DJ's life much easier is when they're mixing between the two tunes, don't play over the mix. Just let him, him or her mix the beats and then wait until the new tune is really established. There'll normally be like an intro section and then it drops down. That could be a place to play. Or later on, almost always there'll be a big build up. That's a good place to play. So you've got to choose your little moment. What else have we got in terms of the playing style? When it kicks off, like most house tunes, they have a build-up and then it kicks off to a climactic moment. Try just doing a long high note if you can. If you want to learn about playing Altissimo notes, which is a good option at a point like this, go to my video on Altissimo. All the videos which I'm mentioning are in the description for this video, by the way. Let's just go back to my main screen here. Okay. I forgot to mention earlier, I've done a whole video on Pentatonics as well. That is linked in the description. And I've done a video about 3 tips how to sound better when you're improvising without learning loads of new scales or getting any better technique. So go and check out that one, which is linked in the description as well. So yeah, when it kicks off, try and hit that big climactic high note and just hold it. Because when you hold a long note, the groove can really kind of churn underneath you. It sounds brilliant. If it kicks off and then suddenly you're noodling all over it again, it's just not as groovy. So that is the 3 points that I want to make about playing over club stuff. Number 1, find your key. Number 2, establish your scale, which is almost always a minor pentatonic or a blues scale. And number 3, make sure your style is simple, thematic. When I say thematic, I mean play something short, play it again, play something a bit different, like you're having a little chat with yourself almost musically. Don't play complicated things and wait for your moment. Wait for that, just listen to the music, sit back, and then there'll be a time where you're just feeling it and you can creep in and start building something. Once again, the links for all those related videos, the Pentatonics video, the 3 tips to sound better, and the Altissimo video are all linked in the description for this video. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put my reputation on the line. I'm going to play some tunes on Spotify from this royalty-free clubby playlist, and I'll see if I can apply this process. Let's have a little look at the chat before I do that. So hi to Nayland, Islandingar, who else have we got on there? Juan Pablo, David, Mike. That's a Russian name. I wouldn't even know how to pronounce that. Thanks for joining me. There'll be questions coming up after I've demoed this section. Let me have a little sip. So, I've never seen any of these tunes before, just to let you know. Let me just go down here and make sure that I've got the right screen. Let's attempt this. Now, occasionally when I play along with tunes, it kind of gets a bit out of time. I did a little trial of it, and it seems to be okay. So let's give it a go. Right, let's choose, let's say this one. So remember, first of all, you've got to find the key. The key in this case is C sharp minor. Okay, here we go. So I found the key, and this is the pentatonic scale. So I've got the scale, and I'm going to listen to the music and then play simple, stabby, rhythmic stuff. Here we go. Okie dokes. Let's try another one. Obviously, I haven't, because I'm trying to keep the length of the lesson down a bit. I'm not going to play entire tracks. Let's try the next one, shall we? So, first of all, let's find that key. I wonder if this is going to be a tricky one. Let's keep listening. Let's fast forward a bit, actually. So the key is G sharp minor. So here's the pentatonic. Unfortunately, I've got a sticky G sharp key today. Maybe it's because it's really humid. But let's keep going anyway. Here we go. Now remember, don't play over vocals. So I would just be listening here, chill back. Ah, this feels like a good moment. So this feels like a breakdown bit. So at some point I reckon this is going to build up and then kick off. So let's see what happens. Remember, I've never heard these. So vocal comes in, so you drop out. I tell you what, let's pause that one and try a new one. Now I think what might have happened in that tune is that it would then build up and kick off, and that's when I would steam in. All right, let's find another one. Let's try this one, shall we? So, number one, find the key. I think it's A. I don't know, actually. Let's keep listening. I'm going to fast forward to save time. Oh, my word. It's like a real dubstep number, that one. I don't know what key that's in. Let's try another one. This is live, folks. Anything can happen. All right. So, find the key. No. Okay, so I think it's in like a C minor. Okay, here's the pentatonic. So remember, just listen to the track, let it build for a while. So obviously you can hear it's a breakdown. I would just kind of wait and see what's going to happen here. Feels like a good time for kind of long notes and stuff. Vocal comes in, so like leave it there. Okay, probably going to kick off. Okay, that one worked out pretty well. Let me just do maybe one more and let's see how we're getting on. Let's have a little look in the chat, actually. What's going on? Danielle, hi. Ben, how you doing? Butch, thanks for joining me. Blue Scorpion, thanks for joining me, guys. This is wicked. Okay, let's do the next one. Jumping Jacks. So have a little listen, find the key. Okay, A minor. So here's the pentatonic. Oh, actually it's A major. Okay, this is great. This is an unusual situation because the tune is actually in a major key. But all is not lost, because once you've learned all your minor pentatonics, you've also learned all your major pentatonics. So in this case, I'm in A. This is all alto pitch. I'm in A major. So to find the right pentatonic, the right minor pentatonic, you just go down 3 semitones. Simple as that. So from A, I go G sharp, G, F sharp. And so I use an F sharp minor pentatonic. But it still fits over A major, as I shall now demonstrate with a bit of luck. So there you can see that the F sharp minor pentatonic fits over the A major. I'm glad that one came up because that was a nice little opportunity to teach something. It's not a very appropriate track for what we're doing, so let's try the next one. Last one. After this, we're going to move into the Q&A. So start getting your brain box engaged for the questions. Here we go. Sorry, the mic wasn't on then, was it? I was just saying that after this tune, we're going to do the Q&A session. So start getting your brain box engaged. So, find the key. Da. Okay, so A minor. Here's the pentatonic. So I've got the pentatonic. Sounds like there's a build-up coming. So this would be my moment. And then you can hear like the breakdown comes, so I stop playing, like have a little listen. Yeah, I know I had my mic muted. I'm sorry about that, everyone. Okay, so things are building. I would just kind of keep listening, not play here. I'm going to fast forward a bit, okay? Save time. Breakdown. I don't know where that breakdown started, hang on. Okay, so it feels like it's building here. Okay, so that's a few tunes that I've never heard before, just to demonstrate the process. And remember, the process is, number one, find what key you're in. Number two, establish the scale that you're going to use, which is almost always a minor pentatonic or blues scale. You've got to learn them in 12 keys. And number three, try and play something funky, rhythmic, and leave plenty of space for the music to breathe. Now, we're going to move on to the questions now. I know it takes 20 or 30 seconds for the questions to come through, but if you've got a question and you want me to answer it, please do ask away in the comments. Let's have a little look in the comments and see who's here. We've got somebody from Brazil, Marcelo. We've got Stephen, James B. Welcome to the chat, everyone. I know I had my mic muted. I'm not sure how much information you missed out, but what I was talking about was if you're in a major key, in the example, in the track, it was A major, you can use the minor pentatonic from 3 semitones down. That's all I was trying to say. So if your housey tune is in a major key, don't panic. Just use your minor pentatonic and go down 3 semitones and it'll work out nicely. Okay, let's move on to the Q&As now, shall we? Okay, let's have a little look in the chat and see if we've got any questions yet. I wonder how you find the key. Do you just figure out the sharp or flat and go from there? Blue Scorpion has said. So let's go here and I can add it to the broadcast. Yeah, Blue Scorpion. I wonder how you find the key. Do you just figure out the sharp and flat and go from there? I don't really figure out the sharp or flat, no. I just sing the note, which I think is the main note, and then work it out on my sax. You see, I don't have perfect pitch. If you've got perfect pitch, you know, you can hear a train wheel squeak and you know exactly what note it is. That's not me. I've got a pretty okay relative pitch, so if you tell me one note and then play another note, I'll be able to tell you what the second note is, but I've still got to like fiddle around for a second or two and find out what the main note is. So I hope that helps. Okay, let's see what we've got. Dean Beaudry says, sounds great. Do you record yourself? What is the recording format that you would use? I do record myself all the time for the channel and for recording sessions and all the rest of it and for my own pleasure. What is the recording format that you would use? I'm not sure what you mean by that, but I record into Logic Audio and I do 24-bit 48K WAV files. That's probably not what you meant, but that's the format I use for recordings. Right, let's have a little skim through and see if we've got any other questions here. Lisa's getting vibed up. Lisa was in the chat before this saying she's an old raver, so I hope you're enjoying it, Lisa. Right. Jan Jung, let's have a little look at this one. Why is it so important to distinguish between minor and major scales when the difference between them only is 3 semitones starting on a different lower note? Why is it so important to distinguish between minor and major scales when the difference between them only is 3 semitones starting on a different lower note? Not quite sure how to answer that question. You've got minor scales and you've got major scales. It just so happens that with the pentatonic, the major pentatonic is the same notes as the minor pentatonic, but if you're playing a C minor scale, it's completely different from a C major scale. I can't really answer that question. I'm not quite sure what it means. Let's have another little look here. Okay, so David says, is the scale oftentimes the first note? Well, if you mean the first note of the melody, not necessarily. Is the scale oftentimes the first note? I don't think that's a rule. I don't think it is necessarily the first note or the second note. It could be any note in the song, but it's just the strongest note that you can hear in the song, okay? Right, the mic was only muted for 10 seconds. That's fine. Thank you very much for the information. Right, Eduardo. Hey, Jamie. Did you use just notes from the pentatonic blues scale for soloing? In the examples from this lesson, I only used notes from the pentatonic blues scale. I promise you. We'll soon get somebody transcribing the solos and prove me wrong, but as far as I know, I only used notes from that scale. deliberately to prove that you can just use that scale? Yes. The secret is, of course, having a great batch of licks that you know on the blues scale. I would actually recommend that you watch my video on the blues, which isn't linked in the description, but I'll add it for the replay. A couple of months ago, go and look at my video about playing on the blues, because there's I think 5 maybe great blues licks in that video. So if you get yourself a little collection of blues licks, you can use them on house music, and this is the point I make in that lesson. You can use them on house music, you can use them on blues music, you can use them on funk, jazz. So a blues lick is like a universal tool. But in answer to your question, yes, I was only using those notes. Right, what else have we got here? Professor Xavier and saxophone. I assume that's my man Xavier. Thanks for joining me. Let's see if we've got anything else. Hi, Francis Taylor. She's just dipping in to say hi and bye. Any other questions? Right. AD Pew. Is there a pattern to learning the scales? Let me see if I can answer that question, see if I can decipher what you mean. You can play your scales in patterns, which helps you get familiar with them. That's one thing. You can learn your scales in the order of the cycle of fourths, if that makes it easier, or you can learn them in the order of semitones. That would be a pattern to learning all 12 keys. I'm not quite sure if that answers your question, but scales are patterns, and when you're learning anything that's a pattern, yes, it's all based on patterns. So I guess that's a yes on that question. Okay, we've got Charis. What is the name of your mouthpiece and the reeds? Sure thing, that's an easy one. Thank God for an easy question. This is a Jody Jazz HR hard rubber, and it's an 8M, and my reeds are Java Red Box, and this one is actually a 3.5. Sometimes I use 3, sometimes I use 3.5. If I've got to play something really high in in the Altissimo range, I'll tend to use a 3.5. If I'm just doing a quiet gig or whatever, I might use a 3. But that's it. Jody Jazz. I love it. But to be honest with you, if I had the money and I was going out to play with a DJ, I'd get a different mouthpiece with a bit more cut. Like this mouthpiece doesn't have a baffle, so it's not super bright. I mean, I can make it bright with my vocal tract and things like that, but I would probably choose a different mouthpiece. But mouthpieces are expensive, as you all know. Right. Now this is a good one from Mario. The bass would usually be on the root on the first beat. Yes, it would, but it might not be the root of the key. It would be the root of the first chord, and the first chord might not be the key of the song. So just watch out for that. Okay, here's a good one from Julian. Hi, what kind of effects would you use in club live performance? Yeah, exactly. Good question. So when I go out and do clubs, I think I used to go out and I used to have a little effects box, and I certainly would use reverb and delay or echo. They're the two main things I would use, delay and echo. I've had a variety of other effects which I've used in the past, like wah-wah pedals and all sorts of crazy malarkey like that. But the two main things are reverb and delay. Here's a question from Dean. What is the recording program that you use? I use Logic Audio Pro 10. Okay. Let's find another question. Okay, this is from Jacob. Do you hear in your mind the next phrase you're about to play before you actually play it? Would you recommend singing out a solo of a tune? That's actually a really good question. Whoa. The sort of psychology of what you're thinking when you play a solo is fascinating. That's a really good video idea, actually. Do I hear it in my head before I play it? That's a really good question. I guess I do. I guess I play it in my head microseconds before it comes out the sax. Otherwise, I wouldn't go to put down the fingers for that phrase. If I'm stuck for ideas on a composition, or I want to, find a horn line, or if I want to find a good line for a solo, I'll definitely sing it. In fact, sometimes I've just got a voice recorder, and I'll play the music and then sing, what I want to play, and then transcribe it. So that's actually a really good question. Thanks for that one, Jacob. Lisa has also asked about recording software. Same deal, Logic Audio. I've got a Mac. Okay, Blue Scorpion. Any tips on how to make an improv session sound good, like you just did? Practice makes progress. Transcribe solos, and then you learn what sounds really good, what other people have made sound really good. And then a lot of it is just, practice, experience, learning from other people, working on patterns, develop your tone. Remember, in the next couple of months, I'm going to have a major course coming out for you to buy, which is called Total Tone Mastery. If you thought my video on Altissimo was comprehensive, wait till you see this course. This is going to blow your tiny little minds. This is so cool. So improve your tone, work on your rhythm, articulation. I've got 2 articulation videos out now. The one last week was on jazz articulation, and the one before that was basics, but articulation is very important. So there are some basic tips about what was it again? How to make an improv session sound good. Yeah, all those things will apply. Let's see if we've got any more questions then. Thomas asks, just picking up the sax again, what's the best way to start 10 years ago? Do you know what? I've had so many people ask me about, not even ask me, they've just told me that they started sax, they gave it up, and then in lockdown or whatever, or they watched one of my videos and they decided to dig up the sax. And that is awesome. That's exactly what I'm here for, to help people learn from scratch or to get back into it if they haven't played for a while. I guess the best advice after starting from 10 years ago is exactly the same as starting from scratch. Do the basics, work on your sound, practice your scales, and I've got videos on all this stuff. It's no different if you had just started it. I need to actually ask my my glamorous support team to bring me some water, please. That'll take 1 minute for that request to come through. Okay, right, what else have we got in the questions? Nothing that has been a real problem for me so far, which is a relief. I'm sure any minute somebody's going to ask me something that I don't have a clue about. Right, here we go. Lisa says, when you hear a note, do you instantly know what note to play on the sax? Not necessarily. I could probably get it pretty close. That just comes with experience. But like I said, I haven't got perfect pitch. Once I know what key I'm in, I'll probably be able to find it very, very quickly. But if somebody just came in here right now and played a recorder and played a note, I'd probably get close. But once I've hit one wrong note, I'll very quickly be able to get the right note. Right. What else have we got here? Thanks for all the questions and thanks for joining me. As usual, it's been a real pleasure doing these lives. Jacob, I can come up with a single 2-bar solo, but cannot think of a follow-up 2 bars quickly enough, even though I can play the pentatonic scale up and down. Play the same thing again, Jacob. Once you've played that first one, just play it again. Yes. Glamorous support team is here. Thanks, love.
Welcome.
So if you've played a good 2-bar phrase and you can't think of the next one, just play it again. What else have we got in here? Yeah, somebody's actually offered Jacob a little help there. Try reversing the order and adding more rhythm. Yeah, you can vary it. That's actually a good little tip there. Right, Eddie Nail says, have you tried the Jody Jazz Jet? If you need cut, this is relatively inexpensive. Do you know what? I haven't tried it and I would like to try it. Here's the thing about me. I'm not currently like a gear monkey. I've been playing pro sax for 25 years. I've probably had 3 mouthpieces and about 2 saxes. However, in the channel in the future, that is definitely something I'm going to concentrate on, bringing you reviews and my opinions on things like different mouthpieces. So yeah, I have seen the Jody Jet and I've seen various other people review it, and I am interested in getting a mouthpiece that I can really get that chainsaw vibe on. But what I have found, now this is really important to remember regarding gear and mouthpieces, I've played all over the world with loads of different bands in loads of different situations, pop, theatre shows, you name it, funk, soul, jazz, and It's not all about the mouthpiece. It's about the sound that you hear in your head, and you can kind of make that sound work. Okay. So, Super Pato says, is it normal that my throat hurts when I try to growl? Good question. I guess, yeah, it does. It doesn't necessarily hurt, but, you know, it's like when you make a noise in your throat. If you did it continuously, it probably would start to, you know, it would affect you after a while. So just to clear up this point about growling, in case anybody doesn't know, you can go and get my video on growling. Just look in my channel. It's quite a while ago, how to growl on sax. The easiest way of growling on sax is to hum a note in your throat as you blow air through the saxophone. So if you're going to go, now it doesn't matter what note you hum, and then blow at the same time, you will get a growl on sax like this. Although it doesn't really hurt my throat, so I'm not sure if that's normal or not. I'd have to kind of see you do it. Right, let's take a couple more questions and then we'll wrap this up for this Saturday. Right, Mike Hamilton. Thanks for your question. Mike, can you explain again about finding the key and how to practice it? Right, okay, let's do this, because this is probably one of the most important things. I am going to go back to my Spotify playlist and I'm going to play several songs and teach you how to find the key. Here we go. Remember, I've never heard these tunes. I'll try and... Right. So, you just listen to the music. No. Sometimes you need to listen to a little bit to, you know, if there's, like, for example, there's no bass in at the moment. Let's save time and fast forward. Now this one, it's either na or na. That's the major key, that's the minor one, so you can take your pick. Now, somebody talked about how do I find that note. I don't know what this note is, so I'm going to do this live and direct view. Na, na. So you can hear, on my first attempt, I hit that note, semitone too high, and then corrected. I hit an A, and it was a G sharp. So they are the two notes. Like normally a song is just in one key, okay? This would be A flat or F. Da, da. You can use an F minor pentatonic. Let's try another one to demonstrate the process. Sorry about my singing. Na, na. That's the key of the song. Na. And once again, I hit a D and it was wrong, but I knew that it was an E once I'd hit that D. So in this case, the key of this song is E. Na, it's the strongest note. Na. Let's try another one. Let's get into the song a bit. Right, so everybody watching in your own homes, I'm going to play this song and I want you to sing the note that you think is the key, okay? So sing the note that you think it is. Practice singing it. What note are you singing? It should be da. I was miles off on my first attempt there. Did you hear that? It's a C on alto, which is a concert E flat. So, how many of you got it right? If you got it right, say I got it right in the comments. Let's try it. One more, last one. Let's do interactive.
Must be the reason why I'm king of my castle. Must be the reason why I'm free in my trestle. Must be the reason why I'm king of my castle. Must be the reason why.
Are you singing the note? It should be da. I had my mic off. No way. Okay, let's recap 10 seconds. I'm so forgetful with my mic, aren't I? We're going to do another one, and we're going to make it interactive. I want you to sing the note that you think the key is. Me and my mic. Oh, my God. Okay, so here we go. So sing the note that you think it is. You should be singing la. Whoever said same as last one is quite correct. It is the same key as the last one, C minor. Okay, so hopefully that gives you an idea. You have to, it's the strongest note of the song. That's the key. That's how you find the key. Sorry about the mic thing again. So hopefully in this fun Find the Key quiz, interactive quiz, you can see what the home note is. Let's get back to the questions. Right, Lisa got it right. Big up. Okay, right, I think I've answered all the questions. Let's just find last question. Somebody has asked, do you give in-person lessons? The answer is I do give in-person lessons, and you can email me at info@getyoursaxtogether.com for any details. I probably haven't got space to give lessons to hundreds of people, but I have got a certain amount of availability at the moment. Of course, with C-19 lockdown, it's all via Zoom at the moment, which isn't perfect. But anyway, you're probably all around the world anyway. So that's probably the only way. But yeah, I do lessons via Zoom. Right, let's find one last question. Mike says game changer for me. Wicked. That's really good. Great tip on finding the key. So here's the last question. I'm sorry I can't fit them all in. We're approaching the hour anyway. And it is, Eduardo, how can I sound fresh soloing even using licks and melodic scales I already know? See, that is such a good question. And that is the sort of inbuilt contradiction, isn't it? How do you stay fresh and creative when you're recycling material that you've pre-learned? That's an excellent question. I guess the answer is you don't constantly have to rely on the material that you've learned. First of all, you can use that material as a springboard to play different stuff. And second of all, you can use that as your kind of bread and butter stuff, and then just have some chrome from the dome inspiration ideas that sit right on top of it that aren't aren't ideas that you've already had and pre-planned. In fact, the licks almost give you the vocabulary to talk in, like to use a speech metaphor. So get together a load of licks, and that's like your kind of syntax and your phrases and your words. And then when you speak the language, you can just be creative. So it's not all about playing licks, that's just going to give you a really good foothold into the style of the music that you're trying to get a grip on. And then on top of that, okay, I tell you what, just as a special last example, I'm not gonna limit myself to the pentatonic and blues scale for one example, just to show you what I might play totally as if this was a gig. All right, let's take this King of the Castle one, and let's see what I would play. I mean, it will still be predominantly the same. Okay. Oh my God, I'm still on that Spotify screen this whole time. Okay, here we go. Let's start this again. I'm going to fast forward a bit to save time. Okay, so let's go back to here for a second. Now then, in that, hopefully I've got my mic on. So in that example, for example, in that particular piece, what I established was that this is a little bit more advanced. So, you know, if this is going to blow your mind, just temporarily switch off for a few seconds. I established that that particular piece, King of My Castle, is on an Aeolian scale. An Aeolian scale is the equivalent of playing a major scale 4 semitones below, a major third below. So in this case, on alto, I was on C minor. It's a C minor Aeolian scale, which is an A flat major scale starting on C. An A flat major scale starting on C. Oh, hang on. I'm talking rubbish, actually. I'm talking rubbish. It's an E flat major scale starting on C. So this is what an E flat major scale sounds like starting on C. Now, you quite often get Aeolian scales in dance music because it's got that flattened sixth. So the notes of the Aeolian scale are C, which is the root, D, which is the natural ninth, the flat third, E flat, F is the fourth, G is the fifth, A flat is the flattened sixth, and B flat is the flattened seventh. So in this particular tune, like breaking out of that kind of pentatonic system, I can do nice things with B flat, A flat, E flat, F going to a G. Da da do do do. So you can hear that's a nice phrase to play on this particular track. And the ninth is always a really nice juicy note that you can put in. I know this is a little bit more advanced stuff, but let me just back it up last time and I'll show you about using the Aeolian scale on this track. Let's go to this screen.
King.
Okay. I bet that was really distorted because I had the mic on this time instead of having it off. Never mind. Okay. So that's all I've got time for. Thank you for all your questions. Hopefully that has been, you know, some sort of help to you. Let's have another last little flick through here. As an old-time rock and roller, you make me want to listen to more jazz and blues. Thanks. You are very welcome. Somebody else has asked, can I play Dorian instead? You can play Dorian, but not on a tune that's got loads of flat sixes in it because it will sound weird. Right. Thank you very much for joining me for this, my third YouTube Live. I've had a great time as usual. I'm super appreciative of everybody joining me. And thanks for watching it if you're watching on the replay as well, because it's going to be available for all time. If you're going to play over house seat and clubby stuff, remember the 3 things that we've learned today. Number 1, find the key. Number 2, get your scale in place, which is almost always a blues pentatonic. Forget that. Forget that Aeolian stuff that I've just mentioned. Normally it'll be a blues scale. And number 3, the playing style should be simple, rhythmic and funky, and don't crowd it out. Wait for your moment. Like, because I'm demoing how to play sax for this video, I'm not going to sit here and just, you know, dance along for 5 minutes. But normally, if I was playing live, I'd leave a lot more space than I'm actually doing. One thing I never mentioned throughout this whole thing is it's really important to engage the crowd as well. Don't don't be a shrinking violet. You got to get out there and start vibing people up, because the more energy the crowd give you, the more energy you can give the crowd, and the whole thing turns into this kind of, real rousing, uplifting experience for everybody. That's what it's all about. So remember, before we go, to get your free PDF, which is getyoursaxtogether.com/house sax. That PDF has got every minor blues scale written out for you, plus the main teaching points from the lesson. As always, you can check out my masterclass, which has got a whole bunch of great stuff to learn about saxophone. That's my free gift to you. God knows why I'm giving a 1 hour lesson away for free, but there it is. It's all yours. Enjoy yourselves. And I look forward to seeing you. Is there any news before I just sign off? I'll give you a little sneak preview that tomorrow's video is going to be a sax meme, the epic sax guy sax meme, just a bit of fun next week. And then the week after that, a week tomorrow, is going to be a very special video because I've got some fantastic musicians in to record Pick Up the Pieces by the Average White Band. You're going to learn how to play Pick Up the Pieces in 8 days' time. And I do a full performance of the tune with some absolutely ridiculous international profile musicians playing with me. So that's all to look forward to. Thank you very much for having me. And I'll see you soon on Get Your Sax Together. Practice smart. Enjoy yourselves. Stay safe. And once again, thank you very much for supporting the channel. I've now got over 10,000 subscribers. How cool is that? Onwards and upwards, people. I'll see you later.